What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Bluebird Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Chris Eubanks Jr. Is a super middleweight 168 pounder who's now claiming and going to make his debut at 160 pounds in the States. He said that his whole reasoning for doing this is to go down and fight the future of boxing, undefeated WBC middleweight world champion Jermall Charlo. He says that he feels like he's the superior boxer. This is Chris Eubanks Jr., who's a UK superstar boxer, super middleweight superstar boxer from out in the UK. Chris Eubanks lost to Billy Joe Saunders, and Chris Eubanks was highly talented. He was looked at as, having a lot of talent in the sport of boxing, and for whatever reason, he has never truly became the star everybody thought he was, right? So now, Chris Eubanks Jr., at times he trains out in Vegas at the Mayweather Boxing Gym, and he has won, he's 28-2 with 21 knockouts. He lost to George Groves. He lost to Billy Joe Saunders. He recently won the vacant IBO super middleweight title from James DeGale. He will be fighting Matt Korobov on the same night as Jermall Charlo will be facing Dennis Hogan. He says the reason that he wants to fight on this card and the reason that he wants to, debut at 160 in the States is all in hopes of landing a future showdown with Jermall Charlo. This is what Chris Eubanks had to say, quote, "I'm a much more superior boxer. I'm a better fighter. All around, I'm just better than him, and I'm going to strip him of that WBC belt. I always wanted that WBC strap." So he feels like Jermall Charlo is the weak link at the middleweight division. This is what Chris Eubanks is saying. He feels like Jermall Charlo is the weak link at the middleweight division, and he wants to test him, right? I personally don't think that Jermall Charlo is the weak link at middleweight. I personally don't think that Chris Eubanks Jr. is going to be successful in defeating Jermall Charlo. I think that Jermall Charlo's skill set is going to prevail if this fight ever does come to fruition. I think that Jermall Charlo will, his counter-punching ability, his activeness, yes, at times he can be somewhat flat-footed, and people are letting that fight with Brandon Adams sway their judgment of Jermall Charlo. I'm here to say I was a witness that Jermall Charlo seriously injured his hand in the fight with Brandon Adams. As he stated, he couldn't use that hand. He seriously did hurt the hand, and I saw it personally firsthand. No pun intended. Then he had the fight, prior to that, where we saw, he was somewhat emotional due to the fact that Jermall Charlo, his twin brother who fights at 154, super welterweight division, had lost a fight to Tony Harrison, and Jermall was emotional coming out, in that fight, so he felt a certain kind of way because his brother just lost, and he was somewhat emotional, and he fought emotional, point blank and period. So with that said, I think that people are overstating those last couple of fights. Now, especially when it comes to Chris Eubanks. Jermall Charlo is 29-0 with 21 knockouts. Matt Korobov is actually the guy he fought, and Chris Eubanks, I believe, he may lose that fight to Matt Korobov, to be honest. That's the fight that Jermall Charlo won, and that was the same night Jermall Charlo lost to Tony Harrison, so it was an emotional night, and he had a little bit trouble with Matt Korobov. With that said, he got the victory. He got the victory over Brandon Adams, regardless of how you look at it. He's beaten guys like Julian J. Rock Williams, who's currently the 154-pound unified champion. He beat Austin Trout. You understand what I'm saying? So he has credible wins. He beat K9 Bundridge, when K9 Bundridge was still somewhat K9 Bundridge. So he's defeating these guys. He has experience. And he don't come up short in big moments. As you see, he's 29-0 with 21 knockouts. So I think that Chris Eubanks is sleeping on Jermall Charlo, and I think that Jermall Charlo is going to stop Chris Eubanks. If Chris Eubanks Jr. could get past Matt Korobov, because that's going to be a difficult fight. I don't even think that Chris Eubanks Jr. is going to get past Matt Korobov. But let's say he does get past Matt Korobov. I think that Chris Eubanks Jr. is going to come up short against Jermall Charlo. Jermall Charlo has been looking, to unify the belt at the middleweight division. A fight with him and Demetrius Andrade should be on the horizon after this Dennis Hogan fight, which is a tough fight for Jermall Charlo as well, but I expect him to be victorious. The Matt Korobov-Chris Eubanks fight is a 50-50 fight, and I would not be surprised at all whatsoever if Matt Korobov wins that fight. If the Matt Korobov that showed up against Jermall Charlo shows up against Chris Eubanks Jr., I think that Matt Korobov is going to be successful in that fight and win that fight. Not overly impressed with Chris Eubanks and his skill set and his style. He's not very accurate. He throws a lot of punches, but not with a lot of educated punches. So, and when I say that, it's no disrespect to him. It's just he's throwing punches with no destination. He's just letting his hands fly, right? So that's what I mean by uneducated punches. So with that said, I expect Jermall Charlo to win should he get past Matt Korobov. I think that Chris Eubanks is making a great mistake. And I like this fight for Jermall Charlo. It's going to garner him some more experience. It's a name on his resume. The UK fans are going to show up for that fight. They'll show out for it. They'll support Chris Eubanks. So, I like this fight, but I highly expect Jermall Charlo to be successful. Chris Eubanks Jr. needs to be careful for what he asks for, because we've seen guys like, no disrespect to Julian J. Rock Williams, no disrespect to Austin Trout. They came up short in those fights with Jermall Charlo, and they too was calling out Jermall Charlo. So sometimes you got to be careful in what you ask for, because you could definitely get that wish, and it's not what you wanted. So I can't wait. They both fight December 7th at Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. So let's see how this plays out. The Chris Eubanks Jr. Matt Korobov fight is on the undercard of Jermall Charlo and Dennis Hogan. So I can't wait to see how that plays out. I'm pretty sure Chris Eubanks is going to attempt to get in the ring. Should he be successful against Matt Korobov, he's going to sit ringside of Jermall Charlo's fight. Jermall Charlo successful, he's going to attempt to get in the ring and call out Jermall Charlo. So we can expect fireworks. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you like and share this video. Oh, again, and the reason I picked Jermall Charlo is, like I said, I meant to say this. The reason I picked Jermall Charlo is because Jermall Charlo is patient. Yeah, he could be flat-footed at times, but he's very, very patient, and he's very, very accurate. And with that said, Chris Eubanks Jr. is very, very inaccurate, and he throws a lot of uneducated punches. So that means there's going to be a lot of openings for Jermall Charlo to counter him. He's going to counter him, and he's going to make him pay. Point blank and period. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. Your boy Blue. I'm gone. Peace.